The UES Defiance shook violently as it came out of hyperspace. The ship's metal hull was covered with burn marks and scratches from the dangerous jump that had brought them to this unknown part of space. Captain Kim Jae-woo grabbed onto her command chair as bright sparks shot out from broken control panels all around the bridge. "What's our status?" she shouted over the noise of alarms and crackling electronics. Lieutenant Park Miho looked up from his engineering station, his face covered in sweat. "Captain, our hull is badly damaged. Only 60% is still working properly. The jump drive that got us here is completely destroyed. We can't make another long jump." Jae-woo felt her stomach drop. The Defiance was carrying 847 people, scientists, engineers, soldiers, and explorers. They were humanity's first crew to travel this far into deep space. Now they were stuck in alien territory with no way to get home quickly. She looked out through the big window at the front of the bridge. In the distance she could see strange ships moving toward them. The alien vessels looked like they were made of crystal or glass. They moved in a perfect line like dancers performing together. The ships were beautiful but also somehow frightening. "Lee Saman," Jae-woo called to her communications officer. "Open all our radio channels. Try to talk to them." "Yes, Captain," Lee Saman replied, her fingers moving quickly over her control panel. "All frequencies are open. We're broadcasting on every signal type we know." The alien ships came closer. There were 5 of them, each one about the same size as the Defiance. Their crystal hulls caught the light from nearby stars and made rainbow patterns in space. As they approached, they arranged themselves in a half-circle around the human ship. Jae-woo knew this was the moment everything would change. This was first contact, the first time humans would meet aliens. She had trained for this moment her whole career. Every captain in the space fleet knew the rules for meeting new species. She stood up from her chair and walked to the center of the bridge where the aliens could see her clearly through their sensors. Slowly, she raised both of her hands up high, with her palms facing forward. This was the universal human sign for peace. It meant, "I have no weapons, and I come in friendship." On Earth, every child learned that this gesture would show aliens that humans wanted to be friends, not enemies. Scientists had debated for years about how to greet alien species. They decided that open hands was the best way to show peaceful intentions. But the aliens did not understand. The response came without warning. Brilliant beams of pure energy shot out from the crystal ships. The beams were so bright they made everyone on the bridge cover their eyes. The energy hit the Defiance's experimental armor plating with tremendous force. What happened next surprised everyone, including the aliens. The human ship's new armor was made from a special metal that had been developed in secret laboratories on Earth. Instead of absorbing the energy beams, the armor bounced them back like a mirror reflects light. The reflected beams were twice as powerful as the original attack. They struck 2 of the alien ships with devastating force. The crystal vessels exploded in brilliant balls of fire and light. Pieces of their ships scattered in all directions like deadly space debris. The 3 remaining alien ships stopped moving. They seemed frozen in shock at what had just happened. Their perfect formation broke apart as they tried to understand how their own weapons had destroyed their companions. On the bridge of the Defiance, nobody moved. The crew stared out at the burning wreckage of the 2 alien ships. The beautiful crystal vessels were now just glowing pieces of metal and strange materials floating in space. Did we just kill them?" whispered Lieutenant Park Miho. Captain Kim Jae-woo felt sick. She had raised her hands in peace, but somehow this had led to death and destruction. 2 alien ships were destroyed. How many aliens had died? Dozens? Hundreds? Lee Saman's voice was barely audible when she spoke. "Captain, the remaining ships are sending signals. They're not trying to talk to us. They're calling for help." The communications officer's face turned pale as she listened to the alien transmissions through her equipment. Even though she couldn't understand their language, the tone and urgency were clear. "They think we attacked them on purpose," she continued. "The signals they're sending, they're military emergency codes. They're telling other ships that we're dangerous. That we're..." She stopped and looked directly at Captain Jae-woo. "Captain, I think we just started a war." The words hung in the air like a death sentence. Around the bridge, crew members looked at each other with growing fear. They had come in peace, carrying messages of friendship from Earth. They had followed every rule for first contact. They had done everything right. But somehow it had all gone wrong. In the distance, the 3 surviving alien ships turned and began moving away at high speed. They were running away to tell others about the dangerous humans who had destroyed their companions without warning. Soon more ships would come. Many more ships. The war between humanity and the galaxy had begun with a simple gesture of peace. Admiral Kethvar stood in the command center of his massive warship, staring at the reports on his screen. His forearms moved nervously as he read the same information for the third time. 2 Zilani ships were gone. Completely destroyed. An entire crew of 60 aliens was dead. The surviving captain's message was clear and frightening. The humans have attacked us without warning. They have powerful weapons we have never seen before. They have declared war on all of us. Kethvar's assistant, a young officer with bright blue skin, shook his head in disbelief. Sir, this cannot be right. 1 small human ship against our entire galactic fleet? It's impossible. But Admiral Kethvar had lived for over 200 years. He had seen many impossible things become real. Send orders to all nearby fleets, he commanded. Find this human ship and destroy it. Use overwhelming force. Take no chances. The order went out across the galaxy. Every species in the Galactic Council received the same message. Humanity was now an enemy. Their single ship had to be stopped before they could bring more vessels from their home world. Weeks passed and more reports came in. Each one was worse than the last. The human ship, which the military had named Hostile Prime, was not running away like they expected. Instead, it was fighting back in ways that made no sense. Look at this combat footage, Kethvar's tactical officer said, projecting images into the air above them. The humans are using our own technology against us. When we fire plasma cannons, they somehow absorb the energy and fire it back stronger than before. The admiral watched the recording with growing fear. The human ship moved like a living creature, dodging attacks that should have been impossible to avoid. Worse, after each battle, the ship seemed to become more dangerous. How are they doing this? He asked. We don't know, sir. Their ship appears to be learning from every encounter. Each time we attack, they are ready for it the next time. Far away, aboard the Defiance, Chief Engineer Park Miho was covered in burns and cuts from working on dangerous alien technology. He had been awake for 36 hours straight, but he couldn't stop now. The lives of everyone on the ship depended on his work. Hand me that plasma coupling, he said to his assistant. He was connecting pieces of alien equipment to human systems in ways that should not have worked. But somehow they did work. The Zilani power cores were amazing pieces of technology. They could produce 10 times more energy than anything humans had ever built. Park Miho had figured out how to connect them to the ship's weapons, making their guns incredibly powerful. That's the last one, he said, welding the final connection. This should give us 30% more firepower than before. He wiped the sweat from his face and walked to the bridge to report to Captain Kim Jaiwoo. She was standing at the center of the control room, looking tired but determined. Her uniform was torn and dirty from the constant battles. The power cores are installed, Captain, Park Miho reported. Our weapons are now much stronger than when we started. Excellent. What about our defenses? She asked. I've been studying their plasma conduits, the tubes that carry energy through their ships. I think I understand how their weapons work now. I've built new shielding that should protect us from their energy cascade attack. Captain Jaiwoo nodded. The energy cascade was a terrible weapon that could destroy entire ships in seconds. The aliens had used it twice against them, but both times the Defiance had barely survived. Test everything twice, she ordered. We can't afford any mistakes. Navigator Choi Hyun suddenly looked up from his control station, his face pale. Captain, I'm detecting massive ship movements on our sensors. Many ships are heading toward us. He pressed some buttons and a large display showed their position in space. Red dots began appearing all around them, each dot representing an enemy vessel. How many ships? The captain asked. At least 40, maybe more. They're coming from all directions. Council reinforcements from every nearby system are converging on our location. The bridge became quiet. 40 enemy ships against their single damaged vessel seemed like certain death. Most captains would have ordered an immediate retreat. But Captain Kim Jaiwoo was not like most captains. Instead of fear, a cold smile appeared on her face. 40 ships means 40 different types of technology we can study and use. Her crew looked at her in surprise. Was she planning to fight against such overwhelming odds? Signal all departments, she announced, her voice carrying to every part of the ship. We are not running away anymore. We've learned from every battle. We've taken their weapons and made them better. Now it's time to show the galaxy what humans can do when they're pushed into a corner. Chief Engineer Park Miho grinned despite the danger. Captain, if we're going to fight 40 ships, I have some ideas about how to improve our odds. Tell me, she said. Well, if we can capture just a few more ships, I think I can build something very special. Something that will change everything. The alien fleet was getting closer, but the humans were no longer afraid. They had discovered something the galaxy had forgotten. Sometimes the best defense is a devastating attack. The emergency alarm echoed through the halls of the Global Defense Center on Earth. President Han Jisoo ran down the corridor, her security team struggling to keep up. She had been awakened at 3 in the morning with news that would change everything. In the main command room, dozens of military officers and scientists were gathered around a large table. Holographic displays showed star maps and technical readouts that most people could not understand. But everyone in the room knew what the blinking red dot meant. The Defiance was in terrible danger. "Show me the message again," President Han ordered. The communications director pressed a button, and Captain Kim Jae-woo's voice filled the room. The signal was weak and full of static, but her words were clear. "This is Captain Kim Jae-woo of the U.S. Defiance. We are under attack by alien forces. First contact has failed. We tried to make peace, but they opened fire without warning. We are outnumbered but still fighting. Earth must be warned. They may be coming for our home world." Then the message cut off into silence. The quantum entanglement beacon that had sent the signal was now blocked by alien jamming technology. President Han felt anger burning in her chest. "They attacked our people without any reason," she said to the room. "Our explorers went in peace. They raised their hands to show friendship, and the aliens responded with weapons and death. This cannot be allowed to continue." Defense Minister Yoon Tae-ho stepped forward. He was a tall man with gray hair who had spent his whole life in the military. "Madam President, we can build a battle fleet to help them. Our best shipyards can have the first group of warships ready in 6 months. But we need to be realistic. We're talking about fighting an entire galactic civilization with thousands of ships." President Han's eyes flashed with determination. 6 months? Our people are fighting for their lives right now. We don't have 6 months. We have 6 weeks. Defense Minister Yoon looked shocked. 6 weeks is impossible. We would need to convert every factory, every construction facility, Then that's exactly what we'll do, the president interrupted. Send orders to every industrial center on Earth. Cancel all civilian production. Every car factory will build ship parts. Every electronics company will make weapons systems. Every research laboratory will work on military technology. What happened next had never been seen before in human history. Within hours, the entire planet was working toward one goal. Car factories stopped making vehicles and started building spaceship engines. Computer companies began producing advanced targeting systems. Steel mills worked around the clock to create armor plating. The news media called it the greatest mobilization ever attempted. Every human on Earth was involved in some way. Children collected scrap metal. Scientists shared research that had been secret for decades. Workers volunteered for double and triple shifts without complaining. In the orbital shipyards above Earth, something amazing was taking shape. Ships that normally took years to build were being assembled in weeks. New designs that existed only in computer files were being turned into real warships with incredible speed. Captain Oh Si-hoon stood on the bridge of his new command, the battleship Seoul. The ship was so new that some of its systems were still being installed while they prepared to launch. Around him, 11 other warships were making final preparations for departure. "All ships report ready for hyperspace jump," his navigation officer announced. Captain Oh nodded. "Take us out. It's time to bring the cavalry." The 12 ships engaged their hyperspace drives simultaneously. They vanished from Earth's solar system in flashes of light, beginning the long journey to where the Defiance was fighting alone. Days later, they emerged from hyperspace near the battle zone. Captain Oh looked out at the debris field that surrounded them. Pieces of both human and alien ships floated in space like a graveyard. In the distance, he could see the Defiance, battered but still fighting against a group of alien vessels. Lieutenant Bae Suzy, his communications officer, suddenly looked up from her station with excitement. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission from the Defiance." "Put it through," Captain Oh ordered. Captain Kim Jae-woo's voice came through the speakers, tired but with a hint of humor. Well, what took you so long?" Captain Oh smiled. It was good to hear that Kim Jae-woo was still alive and still had her fighting spirit. "We brought some friends," he replied, watching as his fleet's weapon systems powered up and locked onto the alien ships. "And we're just getting started." The alien commanders who had been attacking the Defiance suddenly found themselves facing 13 human warships instead of one damaged explorer vessel. Their sensors showed weapon signatures they had never seen before and armor configurations that made no sense. But for the humans, this was only the beginning. Back on Earth, more fleets were being built at an incredible pace. Every week, more ships would arrive to join the fight. Humanity had been awakened to war, and they would not stop until their people were safe. The galaxy was about to learn what happened when you attacked humans who were trying to be peaceful. They were about to discover that humanity's greatest strength was not their technology or their weapons. It was their refusal to give up when someone they cared about was in danger. Council Prime Minister Veltar stood in the Great War Room, staring at the massive display screen that showed the entire galaxy. What he saw made his blood run cold. 3 months ago, there had been one small red dot marking where the human ship was located. Now there were red zones covering 12 different star systems. The humans were winning. Not just surviving but actually winning against the combined forces of 47 different alien species. This cannot be real, Veltar whispered to himself. His 6 eyes moved across the screen, hoping he was reading the information wrong. But the numbers did not lie. Human fleets were attacking multiple targets at the same time, thousands of light years apart, and somehow they never ran out of supplies or reinforcements. How are they doing this? He asked his military advisor. How can they coordinate attacks across such enormous distances? Our fastest communications take weeks to travel between star systems. General HFY was a veteran warrior from the Korthak species. His thick armor was covered with scars from 100 battles. He had never seen anything like what the humans were doing. Look at this battle recording, the general said, making the hologram show a recent fight. This happened yesterday in the Vega system. The display showed a massive alien battleship called the Eternal Glory. It was one of the most powerful warships in the galaxy, with enough firepower to destroy entire planets. Around it, smaller human ships darted like angry insects. Watch what happens next, General HFY said quietly. On the screen, one of the human ships suddenly turned and flew directly at the alien battleship. It was moving at incredible speed, almost as fast as light itself. The human pilot had 3 seconds to use his escape pod and save his life, the general explained. 3 seconds to jump to safety. But he chose not to. He stayed with his ship and crashed into the Eternal Glory at 0.9 light speed. The explosion that followed destroyed both ships completely. The powerful alien battleship was reduced to glowing debris in an instant. This is madness, Prime Minister Veltar said, his voice shaking. No rational being would sacrifice their life like that. It makes no military sense. Actually, it makes perfect sense to them. Both aliens turned to see Ambassador HFY Sasala entering the war room. She was from the Mentari species, aliens who could read thoughts and emotions. Her long tentacles, which normally glowed with mental energy, were now dim and drooping with exhaustion. I have been in battle with the humans, she continued. I can touch their minds when they fight. What I found there is not madness. It is something much more dangerous. She walked slowly to the display and pointed at the expanding red zones. The humans are not like us. We species in the Galactic Council evolved on peaceful worlds. We learn to cooperate and share resources. We avoid conflict when possible. Yes, that is how civilized beings should behave, Prime Minister Veltar agreed. But humans are different, Ambassador HFY Sasala said. They come from a world where everything was trying to kill them. Dangerous animals, deadly weather, disease, starvation. For millions of years they had to fight just to survive each day. Then they spent thousands more years fighting each other. She manipulated the display to show Earth's history. Images appeared of human wars throughout their timeline, battles with swords, guns, bombs, and worse. They are apex predators, she explained. The most dangerous hunters their planet ever produced. And we have done something incredibly stupid. We gave them a common enemy to focus all that aggression on. General HFY pulled up more battle footage. Look at this tactical pattern. They call it the Yonghoyan maneuver, named after one of their commanders. The recording showed human ships using a star's massive gravity to speed up their missiles. The weapons flew so fast they could not be stopped or avoided. When they hit their targets, entire alien fleets were destroyed in seconds. They named their battle strategies after the people who invented them, the general said. They study war like we study art or music. Every human commander knows hundreds of different ways to kill their enemies. More reports came in as they watched. Another council fleet was retreating from the Kepler system. The alien ships were scattered and running in panic. Human fighters had somehow predicted every move the aliens would make before they made it. How do they know what we will do before we do it? Prime Minister Veltar asked. Because they think like predators, Ambassador HFY Sasala replied. A hunter must understand the mind of its prey to be successful. Humans have been hunting for so long that they can predict how other species will react under pressure. Prime Minister Veltar closed all 6 of his eyes and took a deep breath. When he opened them again, his decision was made. Send orders to all Council fleets immediately, he commanded. Full retreat to defensive positions around our home worlds. No more attacks on human territory. General ZYXI looked surprised. Sir, are you ordering a complete withdrawal? Yes. And prepare a communication channel to the human leadership. It is time to end this war. Sir, we still have thousands of ships. We could continue fighting. Prime Minister Veltar looked at the expanding red zones on the display. In just 3 months, the humans had gone from 1 damaged ship to controlling 12 star systems. At this rate, they would own half the galaxy within a year. No, he said quietly. We created this monster. Now we must find a way to live with it. Admiral Kim Jai-woo stood on the bridge of the Defiance, looking out at a sight that would be remembered for thousands of years. Council Prime, the ancient capital world of the galactic government, was completely surrounded by human warships. Hundreds of vessels from dozens of different human fleets had gathered here for this historic moment. The once mighty alien fleets that had terrorized space for centuries now hung motionless around the planet. Every single ship was displaying white flags of surrender. Some ships used lights, others projected holographic symbols, but the message was the same everywhere. We give up. I still can't believe it, said Vice Admiral Park Jin-woo. Kim Jai was second in command. He was the same Park Miho who had been an engineer on the original voyage, now promoted after 18 months of constant warfare. A year and a half ago we were just explorers hoping to make friends with aliens. Now look at us. We've conquered the entire galaxy. Admiral Kim shook her head. No, Jinwoo. We haven't conquered anyone. We're about to become something much more important than conquerors. What do you mean? We're going to become teachers, she said with a slight smile. Come with me. History is waiting. The Great Assembly Hall of Council Prime was enormous. It had been built to hold representatives from 47 different alien species, so the ceiling was hundreds of feet high and the floor could have fit several football fields. Ancient pillars covered with alien writing supported the roof, and holographic displays showed the flags and symbols of every member species. Admiral Kim walked to the center of the hall, her military boots echoing in the silence. Around her, alien delegates sat in their special seats designed for their different body types. Some aliens had 4 arms, others had tentacles instead of legs, and a few could only survive in tanks of special gas. But all of them were watching her with fear and respect. The universal translator began working as soon as she started speaking. Her words were instantly changed into 47 different languages and broadcast to every delegate in the hall. This war started because of a misunderstanding, she began, her voice carrying clearly through the vast space. My people raised their hands in peace, but you saw it as a threat. You attacked us because you thought we were weak. She paused and looked around the room, making eye contact with as many delegates as possible. You were wrong about us being weak. But you were also wrong about something else. We didn't come here to rule over you. We came here to protect you. Prime Minister Veltar, the alien leader who had ordered the retreat, leaned forward in his seat. His 6 eyes were focused intently on the human admiral. Protect us from what? We are the most powerful civilization in the galaxy. What could we possibly need protection from? Dr. An Su-bin, humanities chief expert on alien biology, stepped forward to answer. She was a small woman with gray hair, but she had spent the past year studying every alien species in the galaxy. You need protection from yourselves, she said simply. Your civilizations have been at peace for so long that you've forgotten how to grow and change. You've had the same technology for hundreds of years. You've stopped exploring new worlds. You've stopped asking questions about how the universe works. She activated a holographic display that showed the technological progress of different species over time. The alien civilizations showed flat lines, no improvement or innovation for centuries. But humanity's line went sharply upward, showing rapid advancement even during the short war. Conflict forces growth, Dr. An continued. When people face challenges, they become creative. They invent new solutions. They push beyond what they thought was possible. Without challenges, civilizations become stagnant and weak. Admiral Kim stepped forward again. Here's what we propose. Humanity will become the galaxy's military force. We'll protect all of your worlds from external threats. We'll handle conflicts and dangerous situations. In return, you share your knowledge with us freely. You teach us your sciences, your arts, your history. Together, we all become stronger. The hall was completely silent. 47 different species were considering an offer that would change the galaxy forever. Then Council member Tehasasala, the telepathic alien, spoke directly into everyone's mind without using words. Her thoughts appeared as text on the translation screens. And what happens if we refuse this offer? Admiral Kim's smile was small but somehow terrifying. It was the same expression that had struck fear into alien commanders across the galaxy. Then you'll face the same choice every other species will eventually have to make. Join us willingly or wait for something even worse to show up. She gestured toward the holographic star map floating above them. This war has taught us all something important. The universe is incredibly big and we're definitely not alone. If humanity could go from one damaged ship to conquering the galaxy in 18 months, imagine what other species might be out there. Species that might not be as reasonable as we are. The voting took only minutes. Every single species voted yes. The decision was unanimous. In the months that followed, something amazing happened throughout the galaxy. Systems under human protection began creating new technologies at incredible speeds. Trade between worlds increased dramatically. For the first time in thousands of years, exploration ships left known space to discover new worlds and new possibilities. Mixed crews of humans and aliens worked together, pushing further into the unknown regions of space. Whatever challenges waited out there in the darkness, they would face them together. The age of humanity had begun, but it was also the beginning of something even greater, the Age of Unity.